Having another technical session with our guest Miranda Lee from Connexion. So Miranda is a tech. Yes, hello everybody. Yes, the chat is nice. So Miranda is a developer lead at Connexion. But we'll let her do the introduction for herself. I think that's easier. Thank you, Miranda, and having another technical session with our guest Miranda Lee. So Miranda is okay. So now we know that the YouTube channel does work. I find the YouTube channel running. Okay, cool. Let's try again. Go for it. I will cut it off later. Yeah, you can go.
Me?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. First, let me try to share my screen. Yeah, this is supposed to be my slide, but I don't want to make it as full screen because in that case, I won't be able to see the browser. So, okay, let's get started. So, good afternoon. Welcome to this session. And in this session, I'd like to talk about sense of purpose. This would actually bring the intrinsic motivation, which is, I think, the main thing that would drive not only your career success, but also your lifetime happiness. If I am a hiring manager and I'm looking for a graduate candidate, trust me, I'm not expecting that you can write highly standard code with 10 different programming languages, or you can design a system that is highly available and highly scalable, or you would have extensive communication and management skills, or you can solve very complicated customer problems. But what I will be looking at is the evidence of your sense of purpose and the corresponding intrinsic motivation. Meaning, would you love this position? Would you be able to self-motivated enough to keep learning on every day and put your efforts and time in it? Would you enjoy working as a programmer? I wish you can enjoy in your daily work. I wish you can be happy working with me all the time or working with a team. Yes, as a recruiter, I think in the market, what they want to do is to match your skill or you as a person into the position that suits you the most and make you happy. Okay, let's start by introducing myself a little bit. I graduated from bachelor's degree in information system back in 2010 in China, and then I enrolled into a master's degree in economics. And then I came to Australia, enrolled in the University of Melbourne to study for a master's degree in information technology. Then after that, I joined my current company, Connexion Telematics, as a graduate developer. And after I sold for, I was promoted to the development lead and act as the key technological decision maker, team manager, solutions architect, principal developer, and the product owner of all of our products. Let me assure you that my daily responsibilities is already far beyond coding, or far beyond anything that my teacher in the universities have taught me. I need to engage with my customers, talk to them on a daily basis, making sure they are happy and satisfied about our product, and there's no issue within our product or there's potential fix that we can produce. I need to design the feasible architecture solutions for the products, making sure they actually meet the customer's requirements and feasible to implement, or at least very quick to be delivered. I need to guide and train other developers. And then it comes to coding. Sometimes I write proof of concept code, or sometimes I would try to write a high quality production ready code. As you can see, actually, after graduating from the university, I've never stopped learning for a single day. To me, it is not tedious thing to dive deep into all those skills and technologies, because my purpose here is I want to lead the project to its success. And all the activities I've done is the process of implement the final targets. And also we are very customer obsessed. So my other target, other purpose is to make sure the customer is satisfied. So, okay, let me introduce a little bit about my company itself. Let's just say not everything would go as you expected, and a lot of time, most likely, they don't. What I learned from my company's history is never give up and insist on what you think is correct. This does need very powerful motivation to achieve. When I initially joined the company, we obtained an enterprise project from General Motors in US. By that time, we had 30 plus developers. And it is a very good product. The concept behind it is to basically use the vehicle data such as your location, your odometer reading, tire pressure, engine status, your fuel level, etc., to manage a fleet of vehicles for you. For example, we had a Disney as our client, and they had a few ice cream trucks in their Disney Wonderland. So they would like to make sure those vehicles stay in the Disney Wonderland and don't go over, and always in a good serve condition. So as like this is a screenshot of our previous product. So this is a boundary that Disney has drawn. So they want to make sure that their truck stays in this circle. So this concept is very similar to the ones the Formula One has used, except for they have more frequent data ingestion and they need more real-time status. And our service, of course, does not cost billions from our customers' pocket. It's basically just cost $10 per month per vehicle. But let's just say, even though the idea is really good, but the market's entrance is not that easy to open. That by that time we were unable to support those 30 plus developers. There were a lot of people left by then. Although the company still believed this is something good and should be insisted. So do I. I believed that. So we stayed. And there are only actually 3 people stayed by that time, until we had our Phoenix project, GM on track. Okay, next slide. GM on track, let me introduce this one a little bit. This is a platform that governs the General Motors courtesy transport program vehicles. So those vehicles are the ones when you bring your own car for service, the dealer would give you one of the courtesy transport vehicles for replacement during the time when you get your vehicle serviced. So GM on track is built to support this process and support a lot of auditing so that you know where is your car that's being rented to David. This is also one of their way to promote the new vehicles. So why this is called the Phoenix project in our company? Because before this, we are already having the negative cash flow. With this project, we actually obtained 12.8 million US dollars within 12 months of revenue. And we currently have 40,000 users. And we have 6.5 million vehicles running in our platform. And we delivered 100% customer satisfaction. My role in this project is the team leader, principal engineer, and the technical owner. We use the latest technology, follow best coding practices, even build our own cloud native development culture. It all sounds good by now, but all those does not actually come freely. Well, standing here and I'm looking back in the history, I am so glad that I did insist on what I think is right. Even though my best friends in the company has left, actually all of them has left, I chose to stay. It is quite mentally challenging when everyone around you is doing something, but you are not. It won't be possible for me if there's no sense of purpose to support me by that time. My purpose back then, I think, is the strong belief that the concept of this fleet management is commercially valuable. When this Phoenix project starts, we were in a very challenging situation. There were only 2.5 developers left. Everybody else has just moved on. And we only had 3 months to deliver this whole project. We need to build everything from the scratch within those 3 months. I do believe this is the time that the concept is about to shine. The market is ready and the company is about to hit that turning point. Without this strong belief, I won't be able to handle this level of stress. Like, you need to deliver an enterprise level of application within 3 months with very limited human resources. So all the developers in my team, including myself, worked harder than ever before, fixing every single bug, alter every single component to its best performance. We sacrificed a lot of nights, a lot of sleepless nights, weekends, and even including one Christmas to make sure all those processes in this project actually work for our end user, and all of the users are happy and satisfied. I think from that point, everyone in my team has this sense of purpose. We want to deliver the product. We want the customer to be satisfied. And we have this sense of product ownership, which means no one would say that this is not my code, so I don't want to fix it. It's your problem. So everyone is willing to roll their sleeve up and dive deep into any issue in our application. I think this is the intrinsic motivation that makes the whole team improving with this light speed, and everyone does enjoy what it brings. I still remember this one morning when a customer, he's actually a VP of General Motors. They sent us a thank you note, and the whole team went to silence for a whole minute, and everyone just starts to congratulating each other. And I think this motivation is more powerful than any other encouragement, including your salary increase, including your bonus. I do wish you can find your sense of purpose and let it to trigger the intrinsic motivation in each and every step in your work and your life itself. When I prepare for this session, I asked my friends what would be the thing you wish you knew as a student who is about to enter in the job market. And he told me he wanted to know that what technologies we use in a commercial environment. Then I thought about it, how many technologies we use in our company. Well, I can't really count it. It's countless, a little bit countless. I can't possibly introduce all those technologies listed in here within 30 minutes to all of you. I would need a whole semester for them. Maybe not enough even. And this list actually grows every single week because we adapt a new technology every single week. But what I can tell you, I think, is something better, something that would encourage you to learn all those by yourself and you don't feel boring about it. You will enjoy the process. I am a lead developer. My daily work would involve in using all those technologies to build a solution that would be scalable, low cost, and deliver really, really fast and make sure that the customer are satisfied. To do that, the precondition is to know what's available in the market, right? So in year 2020 alone, AWS has published 175 new services, including computing, storage, networking, database, analytics, application services, deployment, management, so many of them. So a very frequently asked question is, how do you keep learning? How can you learn all those new things? Well, I think it's actually not that difficult for me because I love it. I do love it. I enjoy the process of this learning, and I find my own way and the time to do it. And, or more accurately, I find my own way to enjoy it. Because it's just like you going to gym. If your purpose of going to gym is you want to lose weight, you want to get certain rewards, like you want to get fit, you want to look perfect in the mirror, then it will slowly becomes very, very difficult or even becoming painful to keep up, because this motivation is not strong enough to support you until you can see some significant improvements. However, if your goal is to relax or to release the stress from your whole day's work, to feel that sweat, then it will become so much easier to hit the gym on a daily basis. So again, if I am a hiring manager and looking for a candidate, I want to find someone who would enjoy this position, enjoy what you would do on a daily basis, but not just to get rewarded because I offer a salary package or my bonus is really good compared to other company. I want you to like what you are going to do. So what do you really learn from the uni? As you can see, even after I've graduated for over 5 years, I've never stopped learning for a single day. Having a sense of purpose is important, but knowing how to achieve that purpose is also important. And the good news is you are already learning it today in the uni. So what actually do you learn in the uni? The first thing, which is the most straightforward, is the knowledge itself. It gives you the foundation to understand how things work in your area, to train you to think in a programmer or developer way if you are an IT student. And secondly, which I only realized it so much later on, is to study how do you learn things. Now you have your professors, tutors, and your classmates to guide you through the process of this learning, including how would you ask a question, where do you find all the material to read, and how to absorb the knowledge and transfer it into your own thing. Then sharing it with your classmate is another way to learn. I'd say this skill is even more important than you remembering any definition, algorithm, or programming language, because you would need it in the rest of your life. Everyone has their own way to learn. Some of us is more sensitive to graphics. Some of us would prefer the hands-on experience. I think it's very important to finding a way to learn it. Actually, it should be one of the purpose when you study in the university. And I've been trying to tell you why the sense of purpose is important in past 20 minutes. But how do you find your own purpose? I think it's the best to find out what you love first. The first approach, I think those are very good approach, and it's applicable to myself. I tried it; it's very efficient. First is you asking your friends, your family member, or someone you know a lot, and what do they think you are good at? Because normally people would devote a lot of time and efforts to what they like and be good at it. And second way is to observe yourself. When you're doing something you love, you'll find time flies. You won't realize it being already a few hours. When you have that immersed feelings, you're already finding something you wanted to do. So I'd suggest take some time for yourself and trying to ask, what do you like? From there, it'd be so much easier to find out your purpose, your goal. An experienced recruiter, only by asking a few questions, will know if you like the position or not. This cannot be pretended. Normally in a company, a formal interview can go for 3 to 6 rounds, and you may need to talk to 3 to 8 people or even more and getting asked for at minimum 10 questions. They know from your answer, your body language of what do you love. And okay, now we hit the next. How do we find your purpose, right? How do you find what's suitable for you? So this is actually my LinkedIn job recommendation page. And there are already at minimum, I think, 10 different directions to go. And there are, I think, at least 12 pages after this. So the chances are there must be something that matches your interest and you will be good at it. My purpose today in this session is to make sure that you can get something useful. I enjoyed this process of sharing and hope you feel the same. I hope every one of you can sit down and take some time to find out your purpose and be motivated to work on what you're good at. And at last, I borrow a sentence from AWS. It's always day one. They want to learn something new and they want to find a new purpose. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. That was very good, inspiring. I really enjoyed it, and I hope that other people enjoyed it as well. I guess we can try to get a little bit more informal now, and I can kind of really talk about, why we're here. So just to let you know, why is Miranda here? So I think we met the first time around 2015, 16, because I liked her profile and I just wanted to have a chat with her and try to bring her to IBM. So we had like we caught up in the old York Butter factory, right?
Yes, I still remember.
Yeah, that was
that place.
Yeah. Unfortunately, IBM did not listen to me back then. I became a lot more demanding afterwards. So unfortunately, Miranda didn't join IBM. But what I did afterwards was really try to follow her. And the one thing that I really like was that she was really showcasing that she enjoyed her job. So her LinkedIn, but also her private social networks, it kind of looked similar to mine. Like every now and then we would post an image of us working late at night or finding this new cool thing in code. And those are really the things that I enjoy. And I can see like, it's a person who enjoys her job, her work, or is not afraid to say, hey, I'm can I say nerd? Kind of, I guess so. Yeah,
I think I am a little bit.
Yes. And so, and that's why I really wanted her here. And also because in the years, I remember when she first joined her company, the company I know was like going through not the best of times. So, and I think you mentioned it, right? And in the last 3 years, I saw that it went from, negative cash flow to now it's successful. And so that was very inspiring. That's why I really wanted to have her here. So just to let you know, some of the work that these guys are doing in the bootcamp is to actually come up with their own projects, their own startup ideas. And I think teaching them about doing something that they enjoy and, have a purpose, it's life defining. I really think so. So yeah, I think that's incredibly important. I guess same thing happened to me once upon a time. That's why I actually am an educator right now. So I gave up on my position at IBM, and just 1 year away from my long service leave. So I could have stayed and just enjoy my long service leave, but I really wanted to change my life and become a teacher. That's calling me, let's say, teacher, because I thought that was my purpose. And I have to say, it's a lot harder than any job I did before. There's a lot more spent endless nights trying to sort everything out. But I definitely will not go back. I enjoy my work right now. I enjoy my previous job as well. It was the best thing in the world, but I think this is the one step above that. This is my purpose. So yeah, so a few questions from me, and then we'll go straight into the Q&A. No, let's go straight into the Q&A because I forgot my questions. I should have wrote them down. Question number 1. As an employee, do you expect your employees... Oh, as an employer, sorry. As an employer, do you expect your employees to give everything to their job, or there should be a balance between life and work?
Ooh. Yes, of course. I think my answer is...
Oh, do you want to kill the share screen so there's a little bit more space?
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yeah, I think my answer for this is definitely you need to have that balance between your life and work, because no one is working machine. And I think this thing is something I learned recently in a hard way, by the way. You need to have that backbone to say no. Sometimes your manager or the work is endless. You can't possibly finish every single thing by yourself. You need to learn to delegate things to other people. You need to say, no, I don't want to do this during my weekend, during my nighttime. I only have 8 hours. But that being said, if you have that ownership feeling, then you would say, okay, if it's just like for a week or two, sometimes when you launch a project, it is okay to work overtime, but with compensation. Like, for example, you can take extra 2 days off if you have a very late night duty. And I would expect you can manage your life and your work in a balanced way, and you can enjoy your life. Yeah, because even if I urge you to work like for 2 weeks straight without any break, I don't think you would be very productive by that time. Yeah, so it's for the best, I think.
Yeah, I can relate to that. I think it's, if you're doing something you like, yes, you still need to take that break. And sometimes maybe a good manager will actually tell you to stop working. So there has to be from both sides. And having been a developer myself, don't expect maybe to get paid overtime, because those things, I don't think they really exist. But as an employee, and I guess as an employer, sometimes I do ask a person to, hey, we really need to develop this. We really need to finish it by this day. And then look, take the next 1 day and 2 days off. So yeah, don't expect overpaid, but do expect or do pretend to have the next day off, or, whatever, handle it yourself.
Yeah, you need to talk to your manager about this, because normally people would say, okay, if you stayed overnight or you worked the extra 3 hours tonight, I would come to work a little bit late. Like, for example, I would start work at 11 next day. You need to negotiate this. Yes, it's your responsibility and the manager's responsibility. Ali is absolutely correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
So always start the discussion with the manager. And if that thing doesn't happen, good developers are hard to find, and so you can just walk away. That's probably the best way to get a pay rise, actually. So next question. Let's see, from Tina. What do you think was your biggest motivation during your earlier days in your career? What are some tips you can share on learning and executing? What happened? It moved down. What are some tips you can share on learning and executing tasks on your own, as a team, or as a new project? Yeah, I guess biggest motivation and what's the best tips to be in a team and learning?
Yeah, so I think in my career early days, I joined the company and I met this very skilled senior developer who later became my development leader. And then he quit. He moved on to JB Hi-Fi as a lead developer currently. So I looked at him, how he works, how he communicates things, how he handle every single situation. And just within 2 weeks, I told myself I want to be him someday, that I'm able to handle the things he's handling today. I want to be that person. I want to have that capability to bring the project to its success. So that was my motivation the second week for me to join the company. And I had that purpose. And I was executing and insisting on that purpose until today. And today I'm proud to say I am the second him. Not exactly, but I'm able to handle what he's dealing with, and possibly I can be better than him. So that was my purpose. It's basically I learned from a star of the company. And what was the second question?
Second question was tips for learning and handling teams, I guess.
Yeah, I think tips for learning first. Like I just said in the presentation, you need to find your own way. So my way in here is hands-on, because I'm not type of person who can understand a whole programming language or how things would work just by reading the documents. I need to click buttons. And even sometimes I start by clicking buttons without reading anything. So I start by failing, keep failing, and then finally I make things through. And by that time, I know what things or what potential things can fail this technology or this new knowledge. So that's my way of learning. And second is to motivate my team member or to govern the team. I think there are quite a few tricks in management here. First is, I think you need to lead. You need to be able to set up an example. Like you yourself can be the example of what your team member can be one day. For example, if you have a very excellent coding skill and you can show off, you can let them know that with those steps you can be me sometime, yeah, in the future. And the second one would be give them choices, give them space to choose what they want, even though those choices is very limited. For example, you can choose to complete this task or do this thing in the morning, in noon, or in the afternoon, or you can choose to start work at 11 today. Those little choices is, I think it's a way to bring big motivations, because people think it's my choice to do this at this time, like this, in this way. So they would devote a lot of time, or they would work harder than this, harder than when you point them to do it. So yeah, I think this is two tricks I used most often in my team to trying to make sure everybody working in the same direction.
Yeah, I think I can definitely relate to the mentorship, mentee, where basically, you find the person and that guy is going to be, your mentor. It's like, I don't know, finding your love. In this case, it's finding really that almost, I don't know, your fatherly figure, the guy that will guide you, and that's your mentor. And really the thing that you generally do is, that he's spending a lot of time on you. That means that at some stage you have to pay him back. And you don't pay him back. Yes, you pay him back by doing good work. That's one thing. But it's pay him back by one day you're going to be the mentor for somebody else. I think that was always my thing as well. Yes. Tips for working. I like the thing of giving a of giving freedom choices. That's really good. I guess one thing that I really like that I learned from my managers, which is different from a lot of other things, always start your conversation with your employees with, how can I help you? That was like my tag from my manager. So anytime I would have a problem, he would always come to me and say, how can I help you? And I try to do the same. I want to help my employees. I don't want to, I don't want them to come to me and say, I have a problem, and I say, yeah, go fix it. That doesn't work. Next question. This is nice. What kind of products do you want a candidate? What kind of projects do you want a candidate to have to crack the job interview? I think this could relate to what I have done when I was doing interviews. I always asked all of my students who were applying for internships about what their passion was. And I clearly explained that doing schoolwork is not passion, it's schoolwork. So I would really like to see something which is not done at school or is not school related. So, to make him really stand out. So maybe what would you like to see?
Okay, from my point of view, because I'm in a commercial area, and if I'm recruiting just a graduate developer, I'm not actually expecting you to have a commercial experience. I'm not expecting you to write high quality code, but I would ask how you approach a problem. Even if I absolutely would want to say that you have some hands-on experience on projects, any project, web-based or cutting-edge technology, or if you can produce a solid classic 3-tier web application, even if it's just a very small one, like you just submit a form. But what I will do is I will ask you a lot into the detail about how you approach this thing. What would be your coding practices? Or I would ask you what you wish you've done better, or what can be done better in your project. But I definitely want to see that you produced something by yourself or with a team.
And I think that goes back into the learning part. One way that I have to learn nowadays is I try to follow up. I guess YouTube is driving me because they know me well. They're stalking me. So I try to look up all the new technologies that are always coming up. So I really like to go through tutorials and try things out. But I guess the important part is that if you try something, it doesn't just stay with the tutorial. Maybe you make it yours somehow. So, if you learn to do like mapping application because a new tutorial on Google Maps came out, can you, after you finish the tutorial, put something on top of it just to show that it is your project? It's not just a tutorial, which could be anything. Like, I don't know, maybe you want to make an application to find the best burgers in Melbourne. It doesn't matter what it is. It just shows that you can. Because at the end of the day, programming is just is the most straightforward thing there is, because 1 + 1 is always 2 and 1 + 0 is always 1. So you can't go wrong in that direction. So, Alan, you said you are into technology. What is a new technology or a product or just anything that you're really excited about right now, like now?
Okay, I think I'm currently leading a new project, and that new project is merely just a mirror or a shallow copy of what we currently have as we are doing in On Track. There's nothing particularly new, nothing like a cutting edge, like going to the global conference new. But I'm really excited about it because it can bring value to my customer. So technology itself, I'd say, is just a way, or saying a tool to convey my idea, to bring value to the company itself. So my purpose over here is to bring value, is not to implement any technology. So the technologies I've been used, including quite a lot of popular areas like big data, machine learning, artificial intelligence, data visualization, Internet of Things. So I have my hands on all those areas myself, and even mobile applications. So the technology itself does not trigger anything that exciting inside of me, but what it can bring is the behind the scene, what it can bring to the organization or my customer or myself is something that's really exciting.
Cool. Do you place, this is from Rebecca, do you place high value on a professional portfolio as a way for job applicants to demonstrate a sense of purpose?
Yes, I would say this is one of the aspects that I would say if you love this profession. And again, I think from a resume or from what you have listed, I can't really tell if you like it or not. But if you really don't like what you are doing, you tend to be jumping all the time. Like, for example, you change 3 jobs within 1 year, you stay in each job for 3 months and you feel boring about it and change it to another position. That clearly says, I'm not interested in my previous project. And if my position is very similar to your previous experience, I think twice about hiring you, because it shows you might not stay long because they are not that interested. And another way for me to tell if you have this sense of purpose is to ask you questions about your previous job. Because if you just you don't have this sense of purpose, you don't love what you do, if anything that's out of the scope of your previous work, you won't just do it. I would ask you a few questions that's on the edge of your job responsibilities. And if you can tell me something that's beyond it, even just a little bit, I would say, okay, this person seems to have quite extensive knowledge about what he's or her doing. So I'd say, yep.
Okay, so now, okay, this is a surprise. Navid doesn't actually normally get social. So the question here is, a lot of people are afraid to how to start a conversation with someone during a conference or a meetup. What would you say is the best way to break the ice so that one can get into a conversation?
Yes, I'd say I've been to a lot of meetups as well. And normally people sit next to me is a stranger, and most of the time they are. So normally if I were to start a conversation, I would first ask a question or ask his opinion on that topic of the presentation, right? People talking about some topic, ask his point of view on that topic, and you start the conversation in that way. Because if you are in a meetup, right? You are in the same meetup or a conference, the chances are you both have a very professional knowledge about what's going on inside of it, and you attend this meetup for a certain purpose. So it's a very good start that you can pick up one of the topics from that meetup or from that conference or from the people who's just talked about that topic. It's a very good start. Yeah.
So do you think the right moment to break the ice is when the guy is talking, or when people are just drinking and eating?
Both. I think both. Because sometimes when people are talking about topic 1, 2, 3, 4, and you do feel like you have a very strong opinion about certain topic, and you can just ask the people next to you, what do you think? Right? And just but keep the conversation short, because you will be disrupting.
I think that's a very interesting question, actually. So I have done a PhD, and I guess one things that you do as a PhD, I don't know, because this is going to go public afterwards, so I might need to edit it, is to go travel and go to conferences. Normally, you're supposed to go to conferences to kind of, apart from showing your work, but also to network with people. But let's say that I was not the best networker and I really enjoyed to spend time to be a tourist instead. So if I met myself from 10 years ago, I'd probably tell him, you should work on your networking. But what I realized afterwards, or at least in the last 6 or 7 years, really be very spontaneous and don't give a shit. So I'm going to say it like that, very. So just go to people and say hi, say something stupid, say something that doesn't matter, just to start the conversation. Nobody cares. And you realize that once you do it once, twice, it will become very natural. If you met me 10 years ago, trust me, I would be a very different person. I would be very shy. I would not talk to people. Completely different person. I'm not saying that I'm cool now. I was probably cool 10 years ago as well. But yeah, you will build that confidence. And by going to these meetups, it will just come as natural. We have one last one from Nikita. So let's say you just interviewed as a candidate who looks highly motivated and has a good sense of purpose. I think this sense of purpose, does it show on a candidate, or is it something that shows when you work? Now I feel like a lot of people are using these 3 words a lot. Okay, let's say that you're highly motivated and you show a good sense of purpose. What would be the next thing you look for, or the basic technical skills set you look for in him? Okay, I guess having great people that are highly motivated and are fun and they definitely fit with the culture are great. But what is the technical entry level, let's say?
Okay. So basically, if I'm talking about a graduate position, then I would expect you to have basic knowledge about programming, like including how network works, right? Do you know the basics for the algorithms, like the sorting, the tree, or links, all those data types? And secondly, it will be a really good bonus if you have some programming experience, or you know how my programming language works. It's a big bonus, but not like it's not a decision-making, decision-changing point for me. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. If you are, let's say, if it's not your first job as a developer, you are expected to jump from one programming language to another, and that happens all the time. Probably Miranda not as much, because I guess you have a product, so it's quite stable. But for example, where I used to work, where we had to work with different clients and every client might have a different stack, normally I was like a Node.js developer. Next week, government calls and they're using a C# application. You gotta suck in your pride and go and study C# again. But you are expected that maybe within a week or within 2 weeks, you'll become proficient in that language. At the end of the day, all languages are the same, regardless. Some few changes here. One says print, the other one says console log, but apart from C++, I guess most of the things are all the same, seriously.
Yes, I completely agree. So actually, when I'm looking for a senior developer, I won't even bother to ask which programming languages you've been used before. Because as a senior developer, I'm expecting you to pick up any technology stack within weeks. Yeah. So it's merely a tool to express your problem-solving skills.
Yeah. Apart from Python, I will never understand why they don't use brackets. We have one last one. what do you advise a candidate that have a very huge passion in building application or have a very huge passion in building application or a specific role, but they are very bad at expressing their interest, so they often fail an interview? Okay.
Wow. Okay. I think that's
It's a bit complicated.
yeah, it's quite complicated. It really depends on which part of your expressing the interest has problem. And from the high point, I can only say practice makes perfect. But I've met people. I have friends who's really bad at English. They can't really spell the whole sentence. They can only jump out words from their mouth. And they found countless interviews that they're really highly skilled developers, very solid background, but they can't express their interest in this scenario. So I'd suggest you go for a professional HR and recruiter, or they do have those trainings, and they need to spot what would be the problems with you and then provide certain training. There are certain methodologies, or they have a very systematic way to improve your speaking, your what's that called? The way to express yourself. There's frameworks.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's very important. I think it's also very important for your manager to be able to spot the, what do you call it? The road. What is the Aladdin sentence? The diamond at the roadside. Is that what the Cavern says? I can't remember. Yeah. So, and as per always, as somebody used to say, piece of carbon can become either a diamond or a pencil. It's the same process. It's not just you as an employee, it's also your employer, which is also very important, because as an employer, I want to get maybe the guy who is very, let's say, doesn't look that good, because this way I can pay him peanuts. But I know that in 2 years he will be like super good, and my investment will pay back. And that's what I used to do. That's why I used to go to a lot of hackathons, and just to spot the guys who I knew were gonna make it. So they wouldn't even go into the graduate positions, because I would hire them even before they finished the uni. So I knew they were mine. I don't care. But and in 2 years they would do their super junior role. So I wouldn't say peanuts, but let's say not the greatest pay. But in 2 years they would be worth more than a mid-level developer. So that was one of the strategies. So that could, if you're good, eventually people will find out. But as Miranda say, if you're really hiding it really, really well, maybe you do need some professional advice.
Yes, I could agree more. So when I recruit people, resource is another very big limitation. So the company says, okay, we only have this budget. Find me the best candidate. And the best candidate, sometimes they actually ask possibly $27 extra, and there's just no budget for it. So I go the second, but has a very great potential.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay, cool. Do we have any last minute questions, or anyone who is bold enough to come on stage and have a chat, who wants to ask anything? Otherwise, we might even close it here. Or we ran out of time. Anyone? Chat. Let's see if anyone wants to know. Nope. Okay. Oh, yes. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. We just had a chat about it before. I think it's important to bring it up. In this series of interviews, it just came by randomly that most of the people I interview, they're actually women. So let's just spend 1 minute to talk about the big elephant in the room. What is your opinion about gender bias in our industry at the moment?
For me, I've experienced this gender bias myself. I had a strong feeling about this. We have 20 people in our company. We are a software company, and I'm the only female in the table. So basically, on daily basis, I'm the only one who's using ladies' room. It's basically my place. Yeah, but the good thing is I am the only female, so people tend to listen to me more because there are males, and when I speak, people pay attention. That's a good side of it. And it's also a double blade, because when I started my career, I was recruited just because I am a female, because there's no male in the development team. It's another story. And sometimes when I was a junior developer to mid-level developer to senior developer, so during this whole process, I find out if there's another developer who has a similar skill level as I do, then in that case, the company or the senior manager would tend to give that important task to the male developer instead of me. So sometimes I do feel like as a female, I do need to fight harder, work harder to prove myself that I'm as same capable as my male co-workers. So I think it's a kind of double blade. It has a good side and bad sides, but it's just up to you to actually use it, to maximize the good side, but work harder in your another side, because this gender bias, you can't change how the society, everyone looks at you. It's really hard. The society is trying to change, but it's not like tomorrow when I wake up, it's going to change. No. So you need to adjust yourself to adapt it.
Yeah, I think that's very important, and I think you really touch in a proper way. I have to say, in my opinion, I have lots of friends, but I think professionally, I think in the industry that I am now, I see a lot more competition, and on the good side, it has taken the gender thing away, because it's not like I'm trying to do better than women, or I have to try to do better than women. I just want to try and do better than anybody else. So it's turning from a gender war to a just night playing Fortnite with 100 more people, and you just try to be on top of everybody else. Hopefully without hiding in the only spot by luck. Well, that's my opinion. But no, yes, I agree. When I started in IBM, there was one mission, and that was to reach the 50-50, which I have to say was very hard at the beginning. There were definitely a lot of voices, and I have to say, when I first started, I probably contributed to those as well. The fact that maybe women are not good enough leaders, or that maybe we were happier to stay the night or work the weekends, and our female counterparts instead, as soon as they saw 5 o'clock, they would leave and they go home on the weekend. So those things, I think they're wrong. Maybe I was doing the wrong thing, because maybe I was supposed to go at 5 as well. Maybe I was supposed to go home on the weekend as well. So I think biases do exist, and we have to try to fight to get rid of them. It is something that I'm trying to do now that I am the one who, let's say, employ people instead. So I try to find more people I'm not trying to find more people on the other side. I'm trying to find people from both sides. But I have to say, because of the numbers, of the sheer numbers of, well, there's basically not that many women doing IT, just statistically wide, it's just harder to find good developers. That's just the reality of things. That's just statistics. If you have 300 students, 290 are male, it's easier to find somebody who has more experience, or, it's just statistics. We can't do much about it. I think what we need to do is to try to have more women come into the IT industry to begin with. So I guess become more on the, really preach more on the STEM values, because I think that's where the problem is. But yeah, cool. Thank you so much, Miranda. Anyone has anything to say? Otherwise, we're going to close it here. And I think we are beyond our time limit anyway.
Yeah, just 2 minutes beyond time limit. That's okay.
Well, thank you so much. I really enjoyed this one. I enjoyed all of them, but I especially enjoyed this one. I will say this because like I say, I think professional-wise, we are geeks that enjoy our job and we like to showcase it. We're happy doing the things that we like, and yeah, it was good catching up. And we'll make it like a thing that I do coffee with people that I interview. I'm gonna be yeah, whatever. Anyway, now this is going too astray. All right, cool. Thank you so much. And I'll close the presentation and I'll catch up with you on the table. Bye-bye, guys.
Bye-bye, guys.
How do I stop the presentation?